So in this segment, I want to discuss Rachel Reeves has begun slashing billions from education. I think it's about $1 billion she's looking to cut ahead of further harsh reductions expected in a painful budget. Rachel Reeves is making cuts that really scraped the bone. She said public spending is not sustainable. So this is from the Times, saying Reeves has warned that public spending is not sustainable as she told government departments to make billions of pounds in savings in advance of the budget. And so we've seen stories around Whitehall budget cuts. We're also seeing a below inflation rise as well for budgetary spending. So the Chancellor is setting out detailed savings targets that really scrape the bone in Whitehall after Sir Keir warned of a painful budget. Now, it's not clear who they're quoting. It could be Rachel Reeves because she's mentioned here twice, which seems to be the case. The fact that she's saying they're going to really scrape the bone, I mean, for anyone who keeps saying, this is not going to be an austerity budget, like Rachel Reeves, it looks like she's going to argue with you over that. You can argue over the exact term austerity, but austerity by any other name is still austerity. What we are witnessing here are, Osborne type budget cuts. The Department of Health has been asked to find savings worth 1.3 billion in time for the October budget, sources told the Times. Officials at the Department of Education are also looking at how to absorb around 1 billion of savings. Another Whitehall department have been told by the Treasury to find 1 billion in cuts, and redundancies and hiring freezes are being considered. Departments have been told to prioritise reducing back office spending and cost of services such as consultants and other contractors. That last bit I don't mind about the consultants and contractors. Getting rid of them, it should be a priority because the Tories outsource so much to cronies. So that bit I don't have a big an issue with. But if we're spending £1 billion, if one government department is spending £1 billion just on consultants and contractors, I'd be very concerned. One government source said we are all being asked to really scrape the bone in terms of what other cuts might need to be considered. It's properly grim. And so for all of the arguments of there's going to be no austerity and whatever, yes, we are seeing salary increases, but we are also seeing real terms budgetary cuts here. Who do you think they're gonna give teachers a pay rise, but we're gonna see cuts to the school still, on a budgetary perspective. I think, however you want to phrase it, this is not what schools need. Getting a salary increase is good. Having teacher retention is good, but if the schools can't do basic functions, that's not great, is it? You're not going to get that far. Let's remember what the OG. Let's pay homage to one of the OGs of austerity.
I came into politics because I love this country. I think its best days still lie ahead, and I believe deeply in public service. And I think the service our country needs right now is to face up to our really big challenges, to confront our problems, to take difficult decisions, to lead people through those difficult decisions so that together we can reach better times ahead.
It's kind of crazy how, opposition parties model themselves after government so much. Like, you had David Cameron kind of try and model himself after Tony Blair in terms of, some of the changes he made, the way he dressed and things like that, his kind of media representation. And what we're seeing here is, I think Keir Starmer do the same. When you look at this speech that David Cameron made talking about public service and things like that, these are the things that we've heard, Starmer say. And, you had, Angela Rayner say, we're not having more austerity, not a chance. We're not going back to business as usual. As for a start, we'll be making sure our key workers get the pay and respect they deserve. In terms of pay, they've done that. In terms of respect, I don't think that's going to happen. A real privilege to open Labour Locals 21 here tonight. So, with the pay increase, I mean, the pay and respect, the pay rises should be much higher, I'll be honest. But I get there are some restraints. That's whatever. They did negotiate with the union, so it's fine, I guess. But my bigger issue is, departmental spending and things like that. That's where you get government policy out via departments, and they've cut that massively. You've got this from Alex Wickham saying the OBR has published a paper laying out the case for Rachel Reeves to embark on a public investment splurge. It says 1% of GDP will raise output by 0.5%, rising to 2.5% in the long term. And this is where, this is where you should be doing what's in the country's interests, really. But the problem with politicians are terms are short, And I did hear one commentator trying to justify PFI contracts because you can't justify more borrowing. But the problem is Labour salted the earth for more government borrowing because they kept talking about how Liz Truss crashed the economy because of borrowing when it was because of unfunded tax cuts because she wanted to fund them via borrowing, and that wouldn't have helped the economy. So Labour really kind of put themselves in a corner when they talked about stuff like highest tax burden, when they talked about stuff like debt to GDP ratios being too high, etc. When they, if you borrow this money, especially if you invest it properly, as kind of the OBR saying here, you could have growth in the economy. 2.5%, that's over double the initial investment. Because when it comes to businesses, it's always borrow to invest. When it comes to politics, it's always cut to the bone, bottom bidder, make the service as crap as you can and just get it done because they don't care. It's not their money at the end of the day, so they don't care. So for that person justifying PFI contracts, I think you're just moronic at times. He's got the goggles on too strong. But when it comes to stuff like this, like if you're talking about the national interest, it is to borrow to invest. If you're talking about what's in the politicians' interest, it's just do austerity and then just hope the Tories are worse than you when it comes to the next election. Because if it's Badenoch or Jenrick, you've got a good shot at winning because them two are complete morons. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.